Okay. Not sure. Hi everybody. Just popping on to start the session. Don't worry, I know I'm a little bit early. Just want to wait until everybody joins in and has found us. So if you are seeing this, hopefully you're in the right place. Those of you that have asked, the video is just live on Facebook and there will be a replay. You don't need anything to log in. If you haven't got the recipe handouts, don't worry, I'm going to go through those. So while we're waiting for lots of people to join, just send me a wave, send me a thumbs up or a little heart to let me know you're there. And pop in the comments if you're cooking with mum and dad at home, get them to be your secretary. Pop in the comments how old you are and what your names are so I can give everybody a really nice shout out. I've got my little phone here, so I will be able to give you guys all a shout out. So today we're going to be making falafel. I'm going to show you. So we're making these, which are rather yummy. They smell delicious and I'm really tempted to eat them. So these are the fried ones, and I'm going to show you also how to bake them in the oven for those of you that don't want to do that. Hi Spencer in Liverpool, that's fantastic. We're going to see if we can get people from all corners of the globe. I've just been on the radio this morning on BBC Three Counties, so if you joined us from that, hello. Hi Lila and Shishista, fantastic. Mummy's working, so you're making supper for her. That's fantastic. I love that. Hi Demos, hi Giselle, lovely to see you again. So lots of old faces, lots of new faces, fantastic. Got so many people that have signed up to join us now. It's going to be amazing. We've got a fantastic community. We're going to have loads of you joining and cooking recipes together. Hi Bo, hi Alfie, hi Arlo. You're ready to cook in Swindon. Fantastic. Fantastic. And I'm going to need to scroll because I can't reach that. Let me do that on my phone. And we've got lots, oops. Technology is too much, especially when I've got lots of frying here today. Let me just have a little scroll on here. I'm just going to pull you forward so I can give you guys all a shout out. Hi Ruby and Riley and Maidstone and Freddie from Essex. Hi Freddie. Hi Henry in Northumberland. We're loving this. I'm going to pronounce it. Lachlan, Logan, Arlo and Rex. Wow, 4 of you cooking together. That's fantastic. So that will be super quick. You've got a whole little production line going for the falafel over there. They do look delicious, Mabel and Elliot. And honestly, yours are going to be just as good. Usually better. That's the way it works. Usually your cooking's better than mine. And hi, Liza from Oxford. Hello from Kyden. Is that right? Have I got that right? And Scarlett and Anken and Zoya and Amelia, hi from London. We've got Hampshire here, Maria and Henry. How fantastic. Oh, and now I've just made that smaller. Technology in the kitchen is not usually the ideal thing, but we're going to make the best of it. Charlie and Mummy and Solihull, fantastic. Charlie, I hope you're getting Mummy to do the washing up if you're doing the cooking today. Is that all right? Hi Carissa, lovely to see you again. Some of you guys shared with me. If you've just joined me for the first time, we've been cooking for a week or so and all the previous recipes are up on replay. So do that. We actually baked bread together last week, which was amazing, wasn't it? Some of these guys know. I know Giselle, Demos, Carissa, I know you all did it with me last week. So we've got some really great recipes up there. We've got soda bread, we did bircher muesli. That was really nice for breakfast after our Joe Wicks workout. We did an amazing hidden heart cake for Mother's Day. So that would be a really nice one to do again. Today's falafel, we've got crumble on Saturday, and I've got lots more planned for you for the next few weeks, okay? Hi Holly, hi William from Folkesworth. I've got Sarah and Chloe in Southampton. This is fantastic. Laura in Wandsworth, Anya in Harrow, it's up the road to me. Charlie, Annabeth, Sophie, fantastic. Tom in Belgium, yay, we're getting all over. We had Germany the other day. Hopefully our friends are back too. Ashley Lee, is that right? Anna and Hugo and Amelia. We've got somebody in Cumbria and Worthing. Hi Lily. Hi Callum is ready with Mummy. Fantastic. Jasmine and Lena. We've got Manchester. Jess and Bolso. Brilliant. Oh. And here we go. We've got Daisy and Sophia from Malta, but presently in Leeds. Oh, you count twice. We'll have Malta, shall we? Because I don't think we've had anybody from Malta. Hi Ben, just up the road to me. Hi Faith, Amy, Chloe. Aria again, hello. Little Poppy, how little is Poppy in Eastbourne? So when I cook in my normal classes, we have them from age 2. So you can cook from that age perfectly fine in the kitchen. I'm going to talk you through the recipe today. And if you've got some grown-up helpers, you can get them to help you. Some of you older guys I know are fantastic. You've got it all sorted while mum and dad are working. So Ted and Frankie, Julia, bread flour, fantastic. Yes, we are going to do some bread for next week. So each week when you get the recipe handout, it will, the newsletter, it will have in there the 2 recipes for that week and give you the heads up for the following week. So I don't want to encourage you to be going out and panic buying or anything like that, or going out more than you need to. So that way I'm going to try and let you plan what you've got, but also use ingredients in the cupboard. And for those of you that are new to me, I've actually sent out a really useful list of kind of larder standbys. So I'm going to pop that out in the newsletter again this week, so you've got that. So when you go out and do your shop, it will have a list of things that you can buy and different ingredients you might not have used as substitutes, and things that you can just keep in your cupboard that will last for a long time, okay? Hi, Isabel. I've got Evie and Mummy Esther. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Tiara. Alex and Paul. Hannah and Alexa. Anya. Oh, fantastic. Evie, we've got Liz. Elsie in Nottingham. We've got all kinds. Hi, Nani, are you cooking with me here? Ella and Lexi. And oh, fantastic. Oh, I think I've put that too small. Right, there we go. Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute because I've got another Nicole. Fantastic. So I'm going to give you guys some shout outs in a minute, but I want to get cooking with you, okay, while everybody else joins us. And I'm just going to run through the ingredients because I know I had a lot of questions on that. So I'm going to start with that. And if you've got any questions, pop them up in the chat box, okay? So I'm using dried chickpeas. I think these are brilliant. They are as cheap as anything. Really good store cupboard standby. And the reason I chose this recipe this week is you can often get these from your local supermarkets, okay? So no panic, should be much easier. However, if you have these, you need to soak them overnight. So some of you will have done them. If some of you have bought this at the last minute, you're not going to be able to cook these right now, but still you can watch along and finish it off later, okay? So I've been soaking these overnight in water with a little bit of bicarbonate. I'm going to show you what they look like. So you can see the water's a bit mucky and a bit murky, and it's got some little bubbles on the top. So that's just the gas from the chickpeas. So you need to drain those. So I'm just going to chuck these in the sink and just drain that quickly. And then when they're drained, I'll show you what they look like. They look exactly like you get them in the tins. Can you see? And if I was to really try hard and squish them, they're quite hard, but you can get your nail through them, okay? Much bigger, can you see, to these ones? So that's what you want, and they double in volume. So I said about 500 grams of this. I'm actually going to do half of it today, just to show you, because I can get that in my food processor. If you don't have dried chickpeas, you're going to use tins, okay? So for the recipe we're doing today, you'll want 2 tins of chickpeas. And again, you just want to open it up, wash them really well until all those bubbles go away, and then drain them. So if you're using tin chickpeas while I'm chatting to you, get the tin open, drain them out in a sieve and wash them. And usually I'd leave them so they're a little bit dry, because these are a bit softer, so they're not too wet, okay? So first ingredient is chickpeas, so hopefully everybody is good with that. Then you're going to need 1 or 2 onions, depending on size. You can use a red one, that's also fine. And if you know what that one is, also from the same family. This is all from the allium family, these two, which are onions, like spring onions and things. And this is garlic. So we're going to use 2 cloves of garlic. So you just pull them out like that, and you get 2. And sometimes I would say they're wrapped in wrapping paper. It depends what colour. This one's white. You might have some nice pink ones at home. Just depends what you've bought, okay? And then some spices. So we've got some coriander and some cumin, and they go together really well. They're all both quite brown. They smell amazing. Sort of curry spices, but we use them in here very nice. And I'm just going to put in a little bit of chili, just to give it a little bit of heat. It's not going to be very spicy. Smells amazing. So you can use dried chilies, you can use chili powder, you can use harissa paste if you've got that, whatever you want. And then some of you will want to add some seasoning, so some salt and pepper. And if you have got it, if you manage to get hold of it, then parsley is amazing. Really good for taste, really healthy, super, super good, especially now for us, for our immunity. But also I wanted to show you, it looks really pretty. So these are my fried ones, and you can see they're very slightly got little green flecks, whereas these ones I made yesterday, I wanted to show you the difference with tin chickpeas, and these are just baked in the oven with no parsley. So you can see kind of the colour difference there, okay? So I've made these as little balls, and I've also made them as kind of little discs. So I just wanted to show you the difference. So if yours come out and they don't look like this, that's why, okay? These I think are the best when they're fried and with dried chickpeas because they're really crunchy and they really are delicious, okay? So that's what we're going to need. In terms of kit, if you're baking them in the oven, you're going to want a nice baking tray and some oil, so either some olive oil or some sunflower oil, and you're just going to want to rub that tray, and we're just going to put the bit like burgers on here, and we're going to bake them in the oven. If you are frying them, you'll notice in front of me, I don't have a deep fat fryer. You don't need one. I have an old wok. So I'm seeing all the lovely hearts. So I've got an old wok and I'm using some oil in there. Now the oil that you want is not going to be an olive oil. It's going to be just a plain sunflower or vegetable oil. I've actually just finished mine. So it's a good tip. Never, ever, ever throw your oil that you've used to frying down the sink because it clogs up the drains. So you need to put something, you need to put it in a bottle or in a jar and throw it out in the waste, okay? So if you finished your bottle like I have, you can keep that and use it, but obviously don't pour it back in when it's hot. So I let my oil cool down here, and then you can pop it in a jam jar or bottle and chuck it away after, okay? And then you're going to need a little chopping board and a knife for the onion. I'm going to make you cry. For those of you that are new to me, that's how I'm going to make you cry in your first class. We might be crying with onion juice. So you've only got one tin of the recipe. Absolutely, you can do. And you can use an air fryer, Julia, absolutely, all great questions. So I'm just giving you as many options as possible, okay? One tin of chickpeas, yeah, you could put haricot beans in, or you could do half the recipe, whatever you want. Do falafel with chickpeas, but it's fine. Hi, Megan. And you want a food processor. I've got mine over here. I'm going to swivel around so you can see it. Just there, I've got a food processor. If you don't have a food processor, if you're using tin chickpeas, you'll probably be okay with a hand masher because they're fairly soft. But if you've got a little grinder, like a coffee grinder, or you've got a NutriBullet or a little, smoothie maker or something, that's also fine. But just do smaller quantities. So for those of you that've got one tin, that's going to be easier because the quantity, the jar is not so big, okay? So yummy, they are yummy. Honestly, I'm so hungry. They're here and they smell absolutely delicious and I can't keep my kids off them. So I just wanted to show you what they look like. I'm going to do a bit of frying with you, not too much, because if I put my extractor fan on, it's going to be super, super noisy. So has everybody got their ingredients ready? You can send me, hi Claudia, hi Michelle. I've got Lauren and Taylor, hello, hello, hello. So one tin and an air fryer, that's absolutely fine, Candice, not a problem at all. So if everybody's got their ingredients, just give me a thumbs up or a little heart so I know you're kind of ready to go. So you just either want your soaked chickpeas that you had, or you want to open the tin, drain them and wash them, okay? So good practice for those of you, especially the older ones. Most of these tins, you need to use a tin opener, so good practice with those. So lots of different skills today. Hi, Jack. So I've got lots of you. That's fantastic. So if everybody's good, we will get started. And it's really quite easy doing this. That's one of the reasons I love it so much. So while we're doing that, I'm actually just going to put on my oil so that I can get that warmed up a bit so that I'll be able to show you soon. But those of you that are frying at home, just leave it. Don't need to do it right now. You can watch me do it. I'm going to give you some tips and then we'll do it afterwards. So if you've got your food processor, what you want to do is just chuck let me turn that one around so you can have a little peeky there. You want to just chuck all of your chickpeas in there. It's going to make a really amazing noise. So if you've got Little Chef, this is a really good pouring one. So just chuck it all in. Good sound, huh? So just pop them all in there. Now you've got a really big sharp blade in there, so no hands, all right? No hands in there at all. Now, what we need to do next is we need to have our onion, okay? So what I want you to do is, if you are old enough to use a sharp knife, and I think probably a lot of you are, then that's perfect. Oh, loving all the little thumbs up. Hello, hi William, hi Vicky, hi from Barnsley. What ingredients do we need? So I will just recap really quickly. You need dried chickpeas, 500 grams of dried chickpeas that you've soaked overnight in water with a bit of bicarb. If you haven't done that step yet, you're not going to be able to cook with dried chickpeas right now, so just watch along. If you have tin chickpeas, you want 2 tins of these, and you just want to undo the tin, open the tin, drain it in a sieve in the sink, wash it out until the bubbles go, and then pop it in here, okay? So that's as far as we are. So we've all got our chickpeas in a food processor or something else that we're going to use to whiz it all up. Oh, loving all of this, fantastic. Hello, hello from the Wirral, you and Imogen, that is fantastic. Sorry for swapping, but I'm looking on 2 screens. So we've got our onion. So what I want to do is the onion's always got a little hairy root end that grows in the ground and a little stalky bit that normally pokes up. So we want to take both of them off and peel the onion, okay? So I don't know if you can see this because I haven't got enough space quite there. If I move that back, you'll see. So I'm just going to hold our fingers on the top so we don't chop our fingers. I'm going to chop the bottom, chop the top, and then we want to peel the skin off. Now, a little tip for you, and this is where you might cry, depending on how sensitive you are and how strong your onions, is I just take my knife and I run it down the side like that so that I can take the first layer of the skin off like that. So I waste a little bit, but actually it's the quickest way. If you start crying, I want to get this off really quickly. So see if you can peel your onion like that. So a lot of you can do that. Smell your hands. Whew. You might feel the eyes watering. If you can see the eyes watering, you can send me a sad face. And I've made you cry in your first lesson. So hi Bella, you're loving the lesson. Hello to Lena. Hi Lena. Let me pop that in my bin. So we've got one onion that you're going to peel. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold it, make like a bridge, and our knife is like a train. It's going to go through the middle. We're going to chop our onion in half, and then we'll do it again in half again. You just want it in smaller pieces so it's easier for the food processor, and chuck that straight in too. Okay? So, oh, lots of cried eyes. Oh no, how many people have we got crying already on your first lesson? So when Mum says, was it a good lesson? The answer is no, she made me cry. Perfect. So we all got, hi Tiara, I've got all of these in. Hi Lena. Perfect. Lovely. Loving that you're all on here. This is fantastic. That's warming up nicely. So I'm just going to turn that off again for a minute so I can smell the frying. If you are frying at home, by the way, make sure you've got the windows and doors open. It is a bit stinky and close the internal doors in the house. You are loving it, Eliza. Do you need a grinder? You need something, Domini, I hope I pronounced your name right, to grind up the chickpeas. So if you haven't got a food processor, we're using like a little blender, or if you've got a NutriBullet or something like that. If you're using tin chickpeas, they're probably soft enough to give it a mash. So Jacob's got his onion goggles on. I love it. There are lots of things like that. Jacob, I want to see a picture of your onion goggles. If they're like the Dame Edna ones with the really pointy bits, they're fantastic. Tessa and Max, I'm sorry if I'm missing some of you. It's going so quickly. Oh, I've got another one from Malta. Elena, fantastic. We've got two from Malta now. This is amazing. If you're from somewhere more exotic than the UK, like Malta, let us know. So Ryan in Ireland, I reckon that's pretty exotic. Hi from Ireland. Hi, James L. Shazia and Daddy in London. Hello, Daddy, especially. I hope you're cleaning up. Shazia, is Daddy cleaning up? Okay, good. Right, and Zara from Winsford. Perfect. So we've got our onion in. Now, we've got our little garlic cloves. This is a good one for little fingers. So a little tip when you peel garlic, and I'm going to have to hold this here so you can see, is you want to put it flat on your board, and you want to press with the blade of a knife. It doesn't have to be a sharp knife, so you're going to put your knife on the top like that, put your hand on the top and press until you hear, I don't know if you heard that, a little crack. And what will happen is it kind of splits like that, and then it should be super easy to peel that wrapping paper off in one go. Look how easy that was. So 2 cloves of garlic in there. If you like garlic a lot, you can do another one. But I think 2 is good, and it depends on the size. Actually, I wanted to show you this as well. So this is my red or my pink wrapping paper, and that's my white one, okay? So it doesn't matter. They're exactly the same. It's a bit of a surprise sometimes which one you have. So peel all of that off. Well, they're normally really easy. There we go. Perfect. And pop those garlic cloves in there. So we've got garlic, we've got onion. Oh, I'm glad I've got the thumbs up now. Nobody else is crying. That's fantastic. Hi from Mia in London. Isabel from the Isle of Man. Hello. You're enjoying it. I'm enjoying having you as well. This is great. You were supposed to be on holiday in Malta. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Pauline. But we've got people from Malta. They can send you a bit of love, so that's good. And we can cook together. So that's really nice, isn't it? Perfect. So we've all got in here. We've got some chickpeas, either the dried ones we've soaked, or we've got some tinned ones. We've got our onion, and we've got our couple of garlic cloves. If by this point you are really crying still, don't use your hands in your eyes because you'll have onion juice. So definitely wash them. And in fact, that reminds me, I didn't test you at the beginning. I'm hoping you did. What are the 3 things we do when we cook? And I know some of you know this. Yeah, garlic crush is fine. That's fine. Hi, Annabelle from Australia. Loving that. Woo-woo for Australia. What time is it in Australia? Goodness me. That is impressive. Anyway, so 3 things that we do when we cook. What should we do? I've just given you a clue for one of them. Hopefully everybody, especially now, has washed their hands really, really well. Apron, tie your hair up, okay? So a bit late, but better late than never. So yeah, the garlic crusher's fine. That's absolutely fine. You can crush your garlic, but if you've got food processors, you won't need it. So just pop it in there. Now, if you've got parsley, and this was from my lovely local kind of greengrocer, you get this really nice flat leaf parsley. And the reason it's flat leaf is if you look at it, it has got a flat leaf. Whereas normally you get that really curly stuff, and you can eat all the stalks and everything. So if you've got that, this is good for muscles. Give it a little twist and just chuck it in there. If you don't have parsley, don't worry. But it does give Haria, red-eye, hope I've got that right. Kerry Newman, wash your hands. Absolutely. Maria, wash your hands. Wash your hands, Charlotte. Fantastic. Good. Glad you've all got that. You should have shouted that out earlier. Reminded me, the only person that forgot was me. I did promise I washed my hands at the start of the class. So if you've got one tin, yes, half the recipe, that's absolutely fine. So green is going in there. And then we're going to take our spices. So you want a little teaspoon, and whenever we measure, we do a level teaspoon or a level tablespoon. So you want to put it in, and you can kind of wipe it on the side of the jar if you want, about that sort of thing. If you like it a bit more flavourful, you can put 2 in it, not a problem. So I'm going to do 1 of cumin. I'm going to do 1 of coriander. Yeah, ground coriander and ground cumin. And if you don't have them ground and you've just got the seeds, you can grind them in a pestle and mortar or a little blender. So I'm just going to show you this. It's a nice little advert for Sainsbury's. So there's cumin and there's coriander. They're both quite brown. You can see them like that. I need some more of that one. And then I'm going to use chilies, and I'm using the ground chilies. You don't need to do this, and it doesn't add a lot of spice. Hi, Thomas. You love falafel. Mine too. Do you know yours are going to be the best? Oh, the internet went down, Helen. Don't worry, it's coming back on. Hi, Jemima from Bath. No cumin. Okay, so if you've got coriander, just use a bit of coriander. If you've got some garam masala or something, you can put that in. They'll be a little bit blander. Maybe put in some chili, but it's fine. Dried herbs also okay for parsley. Parsley dried is not so great actually, so I'd probably just leave it out. It won't be as pretty. You could put fresh coriander in too if you wanted to. A processor should do that absolutely fine. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Atta. What are you making next week? I will tell you about that at the end, okay? Looks so nice. I'm sure yours are going to be better than mine, so you're going to show me at the end. So we've got our herbs and spices in. We've got our onion. We've got our garlic. We've got our parsley if we're using. Lots of, I know it smells amazing, doesn't it? Smell amazing already? So then this is the fun bit, and if you're cooking several of you together, particularly if you've got grown-ups with you, don't let them fight over this. You'll want to all press the button. So if you've got a food processor like I have, you have an on, off, and a pulse button. And this is good for the pulse button. They're not spicy, Emily. They're not spicy at all. These are, when I talk about spices and we think about things being spicy, we think about heat, hot. Chili is hot spicy, yeah? But these are just fragrant. So they're just like herbs and spices. So they're really not strong. And even if you put a little bit of chili in, I promise it won't be spicy. If you're not sure, then make them today without. And then, you know, you'll know what the flavor's like and you can ramp it up a bit next time. They're not supposed to be really, really spicy anyway. So let me show you. So these buttons here, if I turn that around, you might see, lift that up. I've got, oh, there we go. So I've got an on, off, and a pulse. And the pulse button is really useful because when I put this on now, you want to turn it around that way, then you can see it. It does this. So you press it in and out, so you can make a tune. So you want to kind of do that. You can put it on, you don't want it to be a puree. So if I put it on, it's going to be very noisy. And you'll want to get a little teaspoon. Remember, there's a really sharp blade in there, so no fingers going in there. You just want to wipe it down, scrape it down a bit, and you want to get it quite fine. So I'm going to put mine on, you can put yours on, and I'll show you in a second what you want it to end up looking like, okay? So, doesn't take too long. Smells really good. Now, those of you that asked is it spicy, it might smell quite strong. Remember, that's just a raw onion and raw garlic that's going to be cooked later, okay? So don't panic. Wash your hands. Have I got the bicarb in? Right, so the bicarb was only if you're soaking your dried chickpeas overnight. So it goes in the water, okay? So you don't need bicarb here. If you're using tinned or they've soaked overnight, don't need any more bicarb, okay? It's just to help it. Maltese pasta seasoning. Oh, good idea, but you're nearly out. I've never seen Maltese pasta seasoning. That sounds exciting. And I have been to Malta. Right, have I put the bicarb in? I've answered that. Hi, Bradley. Absolutely right. Wash your hands. You can all remind me next time. So, now, what you're going to do, if it looks, I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'm going to take my blade out so I can show you. properly. So always take your blade out and put it right out the way because you can see it. So it looks like this. So if you have dried chickpeas, it's going to be quite gritty, and that's what you want. You get really good texture. If you're using the tin chickpeas, it will be softer. And you might, depending on how, what I'm going to show you in a minute now is how you know if it's the right texture. So if it's not clumping together and you've used tin chickpeas, you might want to make it a bit more of a puree just so it's easier to work with. You won't have the same texture. So what you want eventually is take a little bit like this and squish it into a ball. In fact, actually this one I think could do with a little bit more. So you want to squish them into a ball. Mine is a bit, hold on 1 second. What I'm going to show you is this. I'm going to pop this back in. It's a good example of why it's not enough. So if you've done it and it doesn't clump together like that, if I show you this, can you see I want to squish it in my hand, and if it's not really coming together, you needs to go back in for a bit more, all right? So I'm going to put my blade back in. And then hopefully you guys will now know, I'm going to put all of this back in too, you'll know exactly how long you need it for. Because that's what you want to do, is we're just going to squish it by hand, okay, until it comes together. So I'm going to put it on for a bit longer. Give it another stir. It will depend sometimes on which dried chickpeas you've used, how much liquid you've got from your onions, your parsley, all of that kind of stuff. If it's not coming together, you can put a little bit of water in. So I'm going to show you that too. So let's try that. So do you have to put bicarbonate in the chickpeas at the beginning? No, only if you're soaking them. I'm not putting my hand in here, I'm just taking a little spoon out. So yeah, that's still a bit crumbly, so it needs a little bit more. Like I said, I'm going to show you what to do if you want to add a little bit of water in, because that will help too. Can you swap the chickpeas for something else? Traditionally, they are made with chickpeas, but broad beans, sometimes you see people use, but they're not easy to get hold of in tins. So I would use any kind of beans that you've got, not kidney beans, but you want something white, like a butter bean or a cannellini bean or something like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in so you can see as well what to do. And let's see if that helps it stick together. Right. That looks better. Okay. So you're basically looking for a texture that when you squish it in your hands, you will get a nice ball that holds together like that. And this is the fun bit, the mucky bit. Now the other little tip I've got, I'm going to take my knife back, is to have a bowl with some water, because you're going to get a bit mucky. So this is the fun bit. Now if you're using different beans, you may find the texture is different. So I've just put a little bit of water in here, and I'm just going to wet my hands, and I'm going to take little pieces like this. Now you can't roll them in a ball, you have to squish them. So muffles like this, and you'll see it kind of oozes out. You have to squish them into a ball like that, and then pop them down. So I'm just going to do a few here. So while I'm doing, so those of you that've got a few at home or you're cooking with your grown-ups, you can have a production line going on. It does look delicious, and they do taste delicious. So mine look a different colour to yours, because remember I'm using the parsley, okay? So you can see my hands are getting a bit grubby, but you'll be able to do this quite quickly. Now some of you might have a little mould. You can do this as a mould, and if you want to make them into burgers, you can make them in burger shape. It doesn't matter. So I like to make them about the size of my mouth. So depending on how big your mouth is will depend on how many you can get in. So I reckon about that sort of size is good. So you're going to keep squishing them and making them. So you don't need to touch the computer now, because you'll have mucky hands, unless you've got an assistant, a glamorous grown-up assistant, in which case they can send me some love to let me know that you're all okay and squishing away. Oh, hi, Lena. I've got lots of hellos. Hello, Bella. I always said hello to that. That's an old one. Right. So silence is good, because it means you're squishing away, and that's what we want. So we're just going to make some of these. And this is why, if you're frying it, I always think it's worth doing a big batch, because once you've got the oil going, you might as well fry them in one bit. They freeze super well. If they don't get eaten immediately, they freeze really well. They're nice to put in, you know, kind of, well, when we go back to school in lunch boxes and things like that, but picnics and things in the meantime. So you can divide them up into portions and you can do that. Okay. You can't wait to eat them, me neither. When did I put the salt and pepper in? I didn't put salt and pepper in mine, but you can do. So I would put that in the food processor. I tend not to put a lot of salt in my food, but this actually probably does need a little bit of pepper. So I just left them plain for the little ones. But you can do that. And if you haven't done it and you want to do it now, it wouldn't be too late. Just tip out the mixture into a bowl and just stir through some salt and pepper. That's fine. If you put too much water in, is it really squishy? Don't worry about that. So what's a really great question there, Nazarene. So what you would do is you take your mixture like this, and if it's really watery, so let me show you, I'm going to dip this in a bit of water. So if it's really watery like that, as you squish it, you'll see that the water will just come out. So just keep squishing it until you get a nice ball that holds its shape, okay? And every so often, that's why I put my hands in the water, just to wash them out, but also so they're a little bit damper, makes it a bit easier to squeeze. So every time you squeeze, you should be able to see a little bit of juice coming out anyway. That will show me your muscles. So for those of you that are doing the Joe Wicks workout, this is obviously working. Can you put the ingredients on the Facebook page? Yes. So Zoe, great question. So basically there is a link at the top. I know some of you have struggled with getting onto the mailing list this week, and I'm really sorry. It went crazy overnight and I blew my MailChimp limit. So I've set up another mailing list. So the idea is, because there are so many of you on here, that instead of me emailing each of you individually, that every week, as soon as you sign up, you will get the email which will have a link to click and download that week's recipes, okay? And then once you're on the mailing list, every week for the rest of the time that we're going to be doing this, you will get that week's recipes. So we cook twice a week, on Wednesday, like now at 2:30, and on Saturday at 10 o'clock. All the videos are live, so you can cook along with me live. If it doesn't work out for you, you don't have the ingredients, or that is not a good time, just join in on the replay and the stuff will be up there, okay? So all the ingredients are there, and then at the start of every class, I do go over it again. And what I've been doing is doing a little kind of cuppa and chat early in the week, so I can also go through what you're going to be cooking that week. And in those week's recipes, in like this week is week 2, it will also give you the heads up for the following week, so you'll know what you're doing then, okay? So they're not holding together, Saya, so give them a real squeeze. Did you mush it up properly? It should be, that's what I was doing. You saw mine wasn't coming together the first time. Put a bit more water in. So if you tipped it out into a bowl, put a little bit of water in to see if you can squish them together. Like the lesson, Thomas is going to make them tomorrow. Fantastic. So Thomas, you are just going to be an expert. I'm going to do your big one so you can see now what it would be like if you did a burger, okay? So you just take a big ball, because if you guys have been out, you often get, if you have veggie burgers, they're often falafel burgers, aren't they, in restaurants? So I'm kind of cupping it in my hands like this. I'm going to give it a squish so that it's a nice shape. And then I'm just going to put it down, and I'm going to use my hands, can you see, just around the side, just to cup it and make it into that nice burger shape. Can you see that? So if you make a lot of burgers at home, you might have a burger patty, like a burger press, and you can use that too. So that's my mega one. I'll put that one there so you can see. I like the small ones because I think they're really nice as snacks. And you guys might know, so traditionally, I know some of you, I've already had a hummus monster on. So traditionally you eat them with hummus or tahini. Tahini is lots of sesame, and there is sesame in hummus as well. So for anybody that's got a sesame allergy, just watch that. And then you put them in pita bread with some salad, and that's traditionally how you eat them, which is very nice. Oh, lots of loves. Does that mean I'm behind you? So you'll give us the recipe? Yes, I will. You want some of mine, Jay? Yours are going to be just as delicious, more so. Now I'm going to wash my hands and I'm going to get the oil on so I can show you while you're finishing your bit. So I'll do that. Perfect. Right. So I'm going to get my oil on. Now, if you guys, you're still doing it, so don't worry, I'm going to keep up with your comments, and I'm also going to look at what you are doing. So if you are baking them, all you're going to do is take that baking tray, put some oil on it, rub it with your hands, really nice, give it a nice massage, and then you're going to put your little falafel like that just on the tray. Now when you bake those, they will look different. So here's one I did earlier. So they will look a bit drier, okay, because they're baked, and they want probably about 20 minutes in the oven on about 200 fan until they get crispy, and you can kind of pick them up and you can squish them down a bit like I did the mini burgers. So you can do that too. Be aware that they will crumble a bit. They're still just as delicious, they're still really nice, but if you put them in a pizza pocket, you can squish them, they do crumble a bit, okay? So that will just be to do with the fact you bake them. That's one of the reasons I like it better when you fry them, because they've got a really crispy outer coating, okay? Hi from Liam. Right, okay. So I think we're good. So I'm just warming up my oil at the moment, so I'm going to show you. So what I normally do is exactly this. I make a whole load of all my fresh falafel, and then I normally put them, if I have got time, I put them in the fridge to chill. That helps a bit with the frying. So I did some a bit earlier, which, to be honest, look exactly the same as the ones I've just made. So they get sometimes a little bit firmer. And you can do it like that, so you don't have to fry immediately. You can just leave them, make them and then fry them fresh, which is delicious. Okay. Hi, Neil and Sophie from Hampton Wick. Yes, it does look delicious, doesn't it? It looks like a mess, which is good. You can't see under here. So when I was on the radio this morning, I have to share this with you. So at lunchtime, the presenter said, and I hope you're teaching everybody how to wash up at home. You need a lesson on that. And do you know what I said? I said, if the grown-ups are there and the kids are cooking, I think it's a fair deal that the parents wash up. So sorry today, parents, for the first time you're joining me. This is quite a messy one, but it is good fun and it's going to be lovely. So I've got lots of ha-ha faces, absolutely. So I thought I would share that with you. So when your oil is hot, I'm going to show you this. Now, I'm using a wok, so if you don't have an air fryers are the best because they're really easy and really clean. If you've got a regular fry, that's also fine. If you don't think you can't fry, so a wok is great. I use an old watch. Hi, Zoe, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And the reason I like it, and it's good with kids, is you do this roll down technique. So remember, hot oil or anything hot is not good. We don't want it splashing up in our face. So I'm not going to hold my falafel like right in the middle and drop it from a great height. I'm going to hold it here on the corner and I'm going to roll it in like that. And you'll probably hear that sizzle. My oil needs to be a little bit hotter actually. So we're just going to roll them in and we're going to watch them until they go a bit brown. And I'm just putting mine in. I'm going to put these in now. And I've also got a little plate lined with some kitchen roll so that I can drain it on. If you've got a little cake crack, then that works really well as well. Just put a little bit of kitchen roll on. They're not super oily, but you want to catch that oil, okay? So when your oil is hot enough, and if you've got a fryer, it will tell you automatically, you should be able to always put the first one in and it will bubble. I want to be able to show you this. So my oil is not quite hot enough, but in a minute, I'll be able to lift that up and we'll see. Yeah, then it's not quite hot enough yet. I'm also working on, I should say, on an induction hob, which is my first time because I changed from gas. So if you've got gas, it will heat up a lot quicker and you'll get all of that heat going around the side. Hi, Neve. You can't get chickpeas, Julia. Oh, okay. I was suggesting using these. These are the best things because usually you can get these from like your local corner shop or any kind of world grocer near you, and that's the best place for those fresh herbs as well. You can make them with other things, so do try some other beans, but that's one I wanted to do this because they're so cheap, they last forever, they're really easy to get hold of, and if you've got lots of little kids, then if I do this, they're good for shakers and things like that. You are very welcome for the shout out. I want to be able to shout out to everybody today. I know there's lots of you watching, so that's great. So, and I know we're going to have loads more in replay because I have thousands of you that want to do it. Now, so this is looking a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these in. So we're going to take our plate and I'm just going to roll them down. Just roll them in. Do you want to tip those? I've got my assistant who's going to show you. So yeah, just pick that up. That's it. So can you see I'm just going to roll them down, roll them in, and you can fill them up and you can see it's bubbling. That's what we want. We want it to bubble really nicely. I'm not going to do a lot because I haven't got my extractor on. It's going to stink in my house. And then what you'll see is they start to go brown. So that was the first one I had. And I've just got a slotted spoon. And then when they go brown, you're just going to take them out like that. And I'm not going to eat them right now. So if you're going to eat them for supper later, you might not want to fry them quite so dark because you can bake them and reheat them in the oven, okay? So you just be able to see that they start to get a little bit browner. And then I haven't got a huge amount of oil there. So you can just turn them over. If you've got a really full fryer or a full load of oil, you'll be at the top and the bottom will get brown at the same time. So you want to be patient with them because the more prodding we do with the spoon, the more they can kind of disintegrate. So you'll just be able to lift them up and turn them around and check, and they're looking gorgeous and golden brown. They smell amazing. So if you do this at home, put your fan on because it will be a bit smelly, okay? And then I usually do a lot in one go, so however many you can get in your pan, if that's, I don't know, what have I got in here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, about 10. And then I take them all out and put a second lot in. So when I think they're getting brown, I'm just going to lift a few up like that. Always hold it over the plate so you don't drip any oil anywhere. And you'll see if the colour looks good. I think that looks pretty good. And they are delicious, warm, absolutely delicious. I might have to try one. So I'm just going to do those. So those are coming out. So I'm not going to do any more now, but you would just keep going. So those are all of my falafel. Turn that off so you can see. Let's come there. So there they are. And then when you cut, I'll cut into one or tear one. They will be absolutely, can you see how nice and crunchy they are? So if I squish them, they're not really going anywhere. And if I open them up, look at that. Isn't that amazing? So that's why sometimes also you'll see that they need to be really cooked for a bit longer. So even if I was doing them like this, I would still put them in the oven. I'm going to try one. Oh, delicious. Dried chickpeas are so much better. If you can do it with the dried, the taste is much, much better. So, right, I'm going to stop with that. Hi, Anna, you are, thank you, darling. I'm a good cook. You are a good cook. That's what I'm teaching you. You guys are going to be the best cooks at home. So, that is the it for falafel. If you're going to fry them, you can fry them after the class in a minute, okay? They will look like this. Like I said, you can freeze them, you can heat them later. If you're going to bake them, you're just going to take these falafel that you had, these are my raw ones, and just put them on a grease tray. So cook them in the oven or fried, yeah. So if you don't have a fryer, you're just going to bake them for about 20 minutes in the oven until they're nice and brown. They'll look kind of like this. About 200 fan, I did mine. They will look a bit more dried out. They will be a bit more dried out just because of the heat in the oven to make them a little bit more manageable. And oh, looking yum. Thank you, Charlotte too. So yeah, oven temperature is about 200. If, however, you've made them like I have, like these were the ones I made this morning, so I fried them, but obviously they're going to need to be reheated. You can eat them cold, but then I would just put them back in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes or something, just warm them through on a lower temperature, whatever you want. Oh, lots of lovely thumbs up and smileys. So the oven temperature about 200, just to if you're baking them and you did the tin chickpeas, just to kind of dry them so they're a bit more firm, but they will be crumblier, so don't panic. So if yours are crumbly when you, yeah, if they're falling apart when you cook them, is that, Alison, is that in the fryer? So if they're falling apart, you didn't push them hard enough, that's what you need. So, or might have been not wet enough. So add in a bit more water, you need to squish them really hard so they make a ball like this. So they're not kind of moving anywhere, okay? But don't panic. So if they're, what I would say is if they're completely disintegrating in your oil at the moment, stop frying, go back to the balls and maybe squish them a bit further and then put them in, okay? Because otherwise you'll just have loads of little bits in the pan. So, oh, Millie, yeah, they do. They look yummy. So what do you eat with falafels? Fiona, great question. So I normally have them with a bit of salad. You have them in a pita pocket, so just some bread, you know, those kind of pouches that you open up, put some hummus in or some tahini in, a bit of salad and shove them in there. That's really traditional. Or you can have them as part of a little kind of meze board if you've got some dips like hummus or tara salata or tzatziki or whatever you want. Tzatziki is a really easy one to do at home. It's just a bit of cucumber and mint and yogurt. So that's nice. How long do you leave them in the fryer? Until they go brown. So until they kind of look like this, Tracy. So it depends on your fryer and your air fryer. I'm not an air fryer expert, so you know. Casey Lee, they do look yummy. I want to hear how yummy yours are. They do look, Dershna, fantastic. So I'm going to leave you in a minute to get on with yours at home. Share your photos, please. Let me know. And if you've got any questions at all about the recipe, pop them in the thread. I always have a lovely little album going, so I can give a shout out to you, Chef. How long do they need to be in the fridge for? You don't really need to. I just leave them in for an hour or something until they firm up a bit, just so they're a bit firmer. But to be honest, these are absolutely fine to fry now as well. Particularly if they're not, if you'll find yours are falling apart a bit of time in the fridge can really help. And they look yummy, Poppy. Yours are staying together really well. Great. How long do you have to cook? If you mean put them in the fryer, just until they're brown, so you saw it was only a few minutes. If you put them in the oven, I would say about 20 minutes. If you've done what I've done and you've fried them and then you're just reheating them, just 10 minutes or something in the oven until they're good. You can microwave them as well, but then they won't be so crunchy on the outside, okay? So I'm glad yours are staying together. If they don't stay together perfectly the first time, it's just a bit of expert, just a bit more squeezing. You saw with mine, if you don't grind them up enough and they're not wet enough, it may not stick together. And that will just depend how much water you've got from your onions, how many onions you used, how dry your chickpeas were. You know, if you use them in the tins, it will depend on the tins you used. You know, everything is always different. So just go with that texture. Just go with the squeeze until you get a little bit of water out and they're really holding their shape, okay? Hi, Holly and William. Can't wait to try them. If you're using cans, how much do you need? Anita, you need 2 cans to do the recipe we've done today. We'll do the same kind of quantity I've done here, okay? So chickpeas basically double. So where I did 250 grams of dried chickpeas, like kind of 500 grams of stuff that we're cooking with today. You are very welcome, Ree. I think I've pronounced your name right. It's your first time to make it home. That's great. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing for the rest of the week and next week, okay? So this video is going up on replay. So if you've got friends and family that couldn't make it today, tell them about it. They can watch it back. If you are watching because you haven't soaked your chickpeas yet, or you're going to make it again, come back to this video. It's absolutely fine. You can still comment on the replay video, and I will still answer your questions. And on Saturday, we are going to be making an amazing crumble. So this is a kind of flexi crumble. So we're going to be doing lots of crumbling fingers. So butter, sugar, flour. If you are being vegan or you're using substitutes, just use pure or another spread or something like that. If they're a bit wet and soggy in the pan, Natasha, I would just take them out, not once you fried them, but take them out and give them a really good squeeze. You might not have squeezed them hard enough. That is the tip with falafel, actually, is always squeeze, like any burger, really, just making sure it's a really nice shape, okay? Julia, hi, you loved your first lesson. That is so lovely to hear. I love cooking with you too. And Portia, you'll do them tomorrow. Absolutely, send me photos. Where did I learn to cook? I learned to cook. That's a very good question. I didn't learn to cook at school. I learned to cook from somebody at weekend classes a little bit, and then I've really kind of taught myself. So if I can do it, you can do it. All my recipes are tried and tested with my little ones from 2 all the way up. So if they can do it, you can do it, I promise. So this one is actually quite a fiddly recipe. Anyway, back to my crumble on Saturday. So we're going to do crumbly fingers with the topping. I'm going to use apples, maybe some plums if I've got them. You could use pears. You could use some dried fruit in there. It's quite nice with raisins. You can use some frozen blueberries, whatever you want. So I'm not going to be very bossy bus pants about what fruit you use. You can use up whatever's in your fruit bowl, although maybe not banana crumble. Oh, first time cooking, Melody, that's great. So that's what we're going to do on Saturday. The recipes are going to be up there. I'm going to put up again the link for you to sign up so you get that. So thank you so much for cooking with me today. I hope you've had a great time. I've really enjoyed it. I've loved seeing all of this, the comments and the feedback. I love that you are enjoying it because it's a really nice recipe. It does smell amazing, doesn't it? I know. So have a sneaky chef taste. If you cook these fresh, always test 1 or 2 just to check they're right. Get mum or dad to do the washing up. If your kitchen island looks like mine, make sure you have a good clean up or you won't be allowed to cook on Saturday. And I will see you on Saturday. So happy cooking, share your photos and enjoy the rest of the day. Take care, lovelies. Bye. Use the